What's up, everybody? Welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs.
And I'm David Woldigan.
And today we are going to talk Mizzou football and finish our series, the biggest question regarding Mizzou football in 2022. Before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. And guys, you know what this question is. Number one question about Mizzou. What in the heck is going to happen with quarterback in terms of performance? And, we had a video filmed to finish the series in 1 week, one video per day for a week. And then, David, my 4-year-old son, decided to celebrate his 4th birthday by having a science experiment that involved some water bottles and what is now my old laptop. So that's the reason that this video is delayed. We had it filmed, it was edited, almost ready to go, and then it was lost. So sorry to keep you guys waiting. That was not an attempt to be suspenseful. But David, we're filming this on Tuesday evening, and just minutes ago, it was posted on social media. Part of the answer to the question, starting quarterback, Brady Cook.
Well, and as we all know, life happens. So
Yeah.
throws and curveballs. It's all a matter of how you handle it. Yeah. Brady Cook.
Any parents watching this can know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Brady Cook, though, is your starter. I kind of thought in our last film that he had a good shot of maintaining the starter position. I know you disagreed with me because they brought in Abraham, but everybody, you got to remember, Abraham didn't play at all last year because he was hurt.
Yeah.
Not to mention, he's coming in to a totally different offensive scheme that he has to learn. So he's a step behind in that aspect. Basically, Brady Cook outperformed everybody in fall camp so far. So Drake had to name a number one starter just so they could get the practice reps and be ready for the first game. So while it's a little earlier than I expected, I thought they were going to wait until later in the week. He made his decision based on what he was seeing. And if that's the case, I don't blame
him. Pretty early at the second day of camp, Coach Drink suggested in an interview somewhere, in Kansas City radio, I'm not sure. But he suggested that he wanted to have a starter decided on by the end of this week. And even if that was the case, I don't know that people were expecting a big announcement. I mean, this was like they had a video, basically celebrating the fact Brady Cook is our guy, which, all right, it's good. Fans are certainly excited to know, all right, here's our guy. We're not left waiting until September 1st to see, who trots off the sideline to find out who the starter is. So that's good. And with Abraham, I thought he was going to end up winning the job. And my reasoning had been that Brady Cook was on the roster, and yet Drink was going out after every quarterback in the transfer portal pretty much, and finally got Abraham to commit. But clearly Abraham was not a factor. It didn't seem like in the competition to be QB1. And as you said, lots of factors there. Probably the biggest one, in my opinion, is the fact that he didn't play at all in 2021 due to injury. So probably a lot of rust, to be honest with you. And maybe he'll end up being the backup, but when you're trying to figure out a starting quarterback, you don't have time to let anybody shake the rust off. You got to have a guy. And it's, as you said, you need to settle upon one guy as quickly as you can so that they are getting as many reps as possible with the rest of the starting offense. So that's good. To go back to our original question, what kind of performance do we think we're going to get out of Brady Cook? He was solid, not spectacular in the bowl game against Army, the Armed Forces Bowl to end 2021. He showed athleticism. There were a couple drives where he didn't necessarily juke around defenders, but he showed some sheer speed that I think most people were very surprised to see.
Yeah, and you got to remember, Drake has even in offseason said he was really conservative with his offensive play calls. If he changes the way he calls the game, I got to wonder how much more dynamic Cook can be, especially now that we have a couple of playmakers at wide receiver with Luther Burden and Lovett coming in, and Cooper maybe making an impact as well. So if he starts changing up the passing game and opening it up more than he did last year, I gotta wonder if Brady Cook could really throw up some big numbers down the road.
Yeah, that's the optimistic way to look at this, I think, is that Brady Cook took over an offense that leaned heavily on an outstanding running back, and then that running back didn't play in the one game that he started. So now that it's kind of a reset button with additional weapons out at wide receiver, Burden in particular, yeah, there's reason to think, okay, maybe this guy can actually throw the ball down the football field. That's the one thing we didn't see out of him in that Army game.
Well, and let's not forget, he was second string most of the season last year. So now he finally gets to prepare as a starter. So I think we might even see a totally different quarterback than we saw even in the Armed Forces game. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. My question is, who's going to be the backup? My thought is, when Drink was going around looking for quarterbacks everywhere, it wasn't because he didn't think Cook couldn't start. It's because in his mind, if Brady Cook goes down, who's replacing him? Do you put faith in Tyler Macon? You don't know what you have in Sam Horn yet. You had to go out and get another body to back up, because if Cook somehow gets an injury, who do you have?
Yeah, it's not fair to ask Sam Horn to be ready to lead an SEC offense this quickly. I mean, let's face it, he's a true freshman. And even though he was playing in Georgia, pretty high level of high school football, it's not a high level of high school football does not compare to SEC. And this is especially true given how front-loaded Missouri's schedule is. Game 2 of the season is at Kansas State, which not SEC, obviously, but on the road, a Power 5 team, and it's been announced as sold out, weeks ago. That place is going to be about as loud as Manhattan can get. 50,000 people, whatever it is. It's going to be loud. You never like the idea of a true freshman second game if that even in college, regardless of what he plays in the first one, you don't like that idea. So yeah, with Sam Horn, not fair to expect that out of him. And then Tyler Macon, we talked about him a lot. And yes, he was playing against Georgia. One time you saw extended action out of him. But even though it was Georgia, the game looked too fast for him. And regardless of it being Georgia or anybody else, he looked rushed and uncomfortable in the fact that he looked like a freshman who was out of his league. This is going to sound mean, and I don't mean to be mean, but he looked like a 14 or 15-year-old out there trying to do an impression of Pat Mahomes with sidearm throws. And then when things started to go wrong, he couldn't hit Daniel Parker Jr. on a little 5-yard route. It was brutal. I think out of the 4 quarterbacks who began this fall camp with a shot to start, I think he was the 4th out of 4, probably the odd man looking out.
Yeah, just his overall passing mechanics and passing ability hasn't impressed me. That's not to say he can't do it, but as you said, he was overwhelmed in the Georgia game. I wouldn't really take much from that anyway.
It's not the fact that it was Georgia. It was the fact that he looked so out of place.
Well, I just don't think he had much experience with that up-tempo speed and things like that. He hadn't adjusted yet.
Yeah, I think he'd have looked just as lost if he were playing against Kentucky or Carolina.
Agreed. And that's why I said, or that's why you were saying it's not fair to Sam Horn, because he hasn't adjusted yet.
There's no telling how he will adjust, but we saw it with Macon last year. Just because you got 4 stars by your name doesn't mean you're going to come in and be the second coming.
But I also have a feeling with his arm and everything else that Sam Horn, by the end of the year, is either the backup for sure, or he's getting playing time here and there for the next season. So it's still something we need to keep an eye on, just because the ability, I think, with him is there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching Under the Arch Sports and our 5 questions. Keep an eye out in a couple weeks, because as the season starts, we'll start doing our picks and previews for each football game. Until then, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.